From your local source, WCJB TV 20, this is TV 20 News 5 Live.
Good evening. A crash that killed a 6-year-old boy and hurt several others is under investigation tonight.
The accident happened Sunday afternoon on State Road 26. Gainesville police officers as well as Gainesville and Alachua County Fire Rescue workers were dispatched to the 3-vehicle crash near Gumroot Park on State Road 26. The driver of a Kia Sorento crossed the center line into oncoming traffic and hit 2 cars. The crash left 9 people injured, 5 of which were young children. 6-year-old Stephen Morton passed away last night.
And then the young infant, who was another one of the serious patients, has undergone surgery and is currently being treated for their injuries. And fortunately, the rest of the victims in this crash have been able to survive their injuries and should be able to make a full recovery.
The speed limit in that area is 60 miles per hour. Assistant Chief Cowart says a head-on collision at that speed is comparable to striking a stationary item at 120 miles per hour. TV 20's Rebecca Willard will have more on this report tonight at 6.
We have breaking news now from Washington, D.C. tonight. Capitol officials say gunshots were fired in the U.S. Capitol Visitors Complex. Officials say the shooter is now in custody. Suspect, identified as Larry Dawson of Tennessee, was shot by an officer and taken to a hospital. A bystander was also injured. The U.S. Capitol and White House were placed on lockdown. Capitol staff were told to shelter in place. Those precautions have since been lifted. The incident was apparently confined to the visitor center.
Let's take a first look at the weather now for North Central Florida. The work week certainly getting started on a sunny note.
And a drier note than the weekend, Bill.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to start to see a chance of a few showers developing as we head through the daytime tomorrow. After that, things will be relatively quiet. Taking a look outside, as far as the temperatures go, 82 degrees, winds out of the west at 7, humidity 55%. Temperatures all across the region generally in the low 80s, except over at Cedar Key where they're in the low 70s right now. Storm vision is all quiet and going to remain that way. And the cloud cover is staying with us through late this afternoon, but we will expect to see, well, more clouds and a slight chance of showers on your Tuesday. Evening forecast looking pretty good. Temperatures down to 67 by 10 p.m. We'll have a look at your 7-day outlook coming up in a few minutes.
Time to check our rush hour traffic around North Central Florida.
Here's Bob Albert with our traffic team update. Hi, Bob.
Well, hi, Paige. David, this traffic report is brought to you as courtesy of Publix. We've got a crash in Gainesville, Southwest 16th Ave at 13th Street. That outside lane is blocked. Try to avoid that area if you can as you head out. Also, the traffic signal is out at Northwest 39th Ave and 92nd Court. Going to use that as a 4-way stop. Some problems in Marion County, too. Southwest 61st Court at 3rd Street reports crashed vehicles in the roadway. Also, roadblock near Ocklawaha, 180th Avenue at 183rd Avenue Road. Bob Albert, that's your WCJB TV 20 traffic team report.
A University of Florida researcher is returning to Brazil to study the ability of 2 species of mosquitoes to transmit the Zika virus. IFAS Associate Professor Chelsea Smart and her colleagues will research the involvement of the Asian tiger mosquito and the yellow fever mosquito. The team will be using a $10,000 travel award to collect mosquitoes in homes where people have contracted Zika and other mosquito-borne viruses. They will check which mosquitoes are infected with the viruses and then store their RNA.
The city of Ocala saved more than 4 million gallons of water in the last 5 months. The St. Johns River Water Management District says the savings are the work of a partnership between the two due to a Water Smart program for 5,000 residents. The program started last October, and since then, Ocala has improved water efficiency by 3%.
A $1 million grant is boosting brain tumor research at the University of Florida College of Medicine. The grant, awarded by the Hyundai Hope on Wheels Foundation, will fund a 4-year project studying an improved immunotherapy treatment for pediatric brain tumors. Dr. Dwayne Mitchell started the brain tumor research program 2 years ago. Officials say since then, the Center for Brain Tumor Therapy has made steady progress in the lab and in clinical trials on using the human immune system to attack tumors in children and adults.
Several Cuban migrants were found shot over the weekend in South Florida in a makeshift raft. According to the U.S. Coast Guard, 7 of the 26 migrants on the raft suffered gunshot wounds before being stopped south of Key West. 6 of them were airlifted to a medical center. 4 were treated and released into custody of U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. They will be allowed to stay in the U.S. because they reached U.S. soil under the U.S. wet foot, dry foot policy. The remaining 20 migrants are expected to be returned to Cuba after receiving medical care.
An Alachua County kindergarten teacher squared off against lawyers for the state today as a lawsuit challenging the adequacy of the state's school funding entered its 3rd week. TV20's Mike Vasalinda tells us the main issue is whether the state is living up to the requirements of the Constitution.
In 1998, voters tired of underperforming schools added language to the state constitution saying it was a paramount duty of the state to provide a high-quality system of free public schools.
Please be seated.
Now a lawsuit, first begun in 2010, is entering its third week. Gainesville kindergarten teacher Susan Bowles was on center stage.
Don't you have lots of books in your classroom?
Yes, and guess who paid for those?
Bowles is the teacher who in 2014 refused to give her 5-year-olds a state standardized test. Within weeks of Bowles' refusal to give the test, the state suspended him for all kindergartners. She told the court the tests were eating up valuable classroom time.
You have to wonder, if all of this testing wasn't taking place, how much of that money could be used in appropriate ways in the classrooms?
Lawyers also question the regional director of school improvement who oversees 5 underperforming schools in Pinellas County.
Yeah, Maximo has been in that school for 4 years in a row. It's a priority, and they're in the implementing stage of a turnaround plan? Yes. That's pretty bleak.
Attempts to use fewer and nationally standardized tests failed during the recent legislative session, but during the debate, lawmakers acknowledged the state is spending more than $100 million a year on tests alone. In Tallahassee, Mike Vasalinda, TV20 News.
Under questioning today, Susan Bowles told an attorney for the state that her students used to spend more time preparing for the test than the attorney spent getting ready to take his law school admission test.
Coming up next, new arrests in connection to the terror attacks in Belgium. Plus, after the break, new information on the Easter blast in Pakistan that killed at least 70 people.
And a primary sweep for Bernie Sanders. When we return, find out why people in the Clinton campaign, though, are not worried. That's next.